Today I found out that Dylan Roof, that piece of human trash that murdered 9 black churchgoers, was sentenced to death. And I would normally say that justice has been served, that if you murder, you should die. But the reason why he specifically was sentenced to death, to me, is wrong. The justice system in the United States has a lot of critique against it, especially coming from things like Black Lives Matter, and critique coming from marijuana-friendly organizations. I want to talk specifically about why I think that Dylan Roof should have been sentenced to death, but also why he shouldn't have been sentenced to death for a hate crime. Now, I know that that natural reaction is, oh, but of course it was a hate crime. White guy, white supremacist, he's got the Confederate battle flag, and he has showed no remorse throughout his trial. He deliberately shot up and killed black people because they were black. What he did was racist. What he did was hateful. And you're right. You're absolutely right. But the reason why I say that the justice system is showing its cracks is that this case shows why the justice system is failing, is that hate crime in itself should not exist as a term. As Dylan Roof, the moment he murdered in first degree, the first churchgoer at that Bible study earned himself the death penalty. And why do I say that? Imagine that he hadn't been the only armed person in that Bible study. So you have just an average person that's also there, and that person is armed. Let's imagine that Dylan Roof comes in and opens fire. The person who's armed has both the capability and the moral duty to defend the lives of those around him. And so he does. In this hypothetical situation, would we charge that person with murder? He shot Dylan Roof, saving the lives of 8 or more of the Bible study's participants? No, of course not. Defending yourself or others is what we all in our society consider a valid use of violence. Violence in itself is not evil. Violence is a means to an end. If by murdering one person, Dylan Roof earned himself the death penalty, then by murdering 9, he's obviously earned no less than the death penalty. In the trial, the prosecutor would try to prove 3 things about the defendant. And that is that the defendant has means, motive, and opportunity. Right? If you can prove those 3 things, you can pretty much lock in that that the defendant is, or that the accused is guilty. It takes those 3 things to really do it. So we charge someone with a crime based on the facts of the case, the things we can observe. When cops show up and they see that Dylan Roof has a firearm and that there are dead people with bullet holes in them, the facts of the case lead you to believe that Dylan Roof caused the death of those people. So you charge him. Then, in the trial, you determine whether or not he had means, motive, and opportunity in order to prove his guilt. What the term hate crime does is it assumes the motive. It assumes the motive before the trial has even happened. We don't charge based on the motive. We charge based on the premeditation. So the difference between first and second degree murder is, did you plan it out? It's not motive. It's premeditation. It's forethought. So let's think about the difference between first and second degree murder. A man walks into his own house, finds his wife with a lover, and stabs them both to death. When you're determining whether or not it's first degree or second degree murder, you're looking not at motive, but on premeditation. He didn't plan that out. If you can prove that he did plan it out, then it would be first degree. Why is a whole separate issue. Why could be that he hated them both from the beginning. He knew them both. Why could be that he's always just wanted to kill someone. Why could be a whole number of things. Why is not part of the charge. It's part of the proof. You use motive, means, and opportunity to prove guilt, not to determine what crime was committed. And there's a deeper nefariousness to this. When we decide that some people's lives are worth more under the law than others, especially when we do it in the most racist way possible, which is to decide that if the person you killed is of another race, this could be a hate crime. And if it is, you'll get more punishment for it. Here's the fatal flaw in that, though. If it's possible to get more punishment for it, then it's obvious that the amount of punishment, the level of punishment that you're meting out for that crime was too low to begin with. So, for example, hate crimes that result in the death of someone, murder of someone, the punishment for murder should be death. So if you're getting less than death, then we messed up somewhere. And the fact of the matter is, if you murder someone in our society, then you've lost your right to be in our society. So Dylann Roof absolutely should receive the death penalty for the crimes he committed. And yes, his motives included the hatred of the people he killed. There's hatred involved in a lot of crimes. By creating a system where the standard of justice is here, but we set the bar down here so that we have room to move up to the higher level, that's not justice. That's social engineering. So yes, Dylann Roof should be executed, and I would do it myself. But to say he should only be executed because it was a hate crime is an injustice to all 9 of those churchgoers. Hey guys, I hope you liked the video. I know it was a little bit darker than usual, but if you did like it, click like below. And I want to ask, do you believe that hate crime is a legitimate legal concept? And if you do, what do you think about hate speech? Go ahead and put that in the comment section. If you like these videos, click subscribe. Be safe, and I'll see you soon.